Here the holidays are celebrated most lively. Here Arab and Christian influences blend. Here you will find numerous tapas bars and fiery flamenco in the narrow streets. This video will take you to Seville. We will stroll through the charming streets, see the beautiful azulejos in the Spanish Square, visit the impressive Alcázar, and see the city from the bell tower, which used to be a minaret. We invite you to visit Seville. Seville is the true heart of Andalusia and the capital of this region. Its rich history is reflected in its monuments, which date back to the period of Arab rule and the era of the great geographical discoveries, among others. Seville also has narrow streets full of atmospheric pubs, stores, and fragrant orange trees. We will begin our tour of Seville in the Santa Cruz District, where the Jewish, Arab, and Christian communities lived in the past. Here you will find whitewashed townhouses, narrow and winding streets, and shutters decorated with flowers. Walking through the Santa Cruz, every now and then you will come across small squares with fragrant orange trees. There are also a lot of local restaurants, stores, and tapas bars. We recommend El Librero Tapas y Quesos, where you can try typical Andalusian cuisine. St. Mary's Cathedral is the largest Gothic cathedral in the world, which was built on the site of a former mosque. The cathedral's most distinctive feature is its bell tower, known as La Giralda, which was once its minaret. After the Reconquista, which aimed to expel the Moors from the Iberian Peninsula, the mosque was converted into a Christian temple, and a few centuries later, the current cathedral stood on the site. Its construction was guided by the thought, "We will build a temple so great that those who see it completed will consider us madmen." The cathedral took more than a century to build, and to complete it, the riches acquired during the great geographical discoveries were used. The cathedral is truly impressive. It is 76 meters long and 116 meters wide. Its interior is really impressive. There is a majestic main altar, which is almost 30 meters high. It is composed of about 1,000 statues, which depict 45 scenes showing the lives of Jesus and Mary, among others. La Giralda, which is the cathedral's bell tower, can be seen from almost anywhere in Seville. Its height is almost 100 meters, and 35 gentle ramps lead to its top. Such a solution was used so that the muezzin could ride on horseback to the top, from where he proclaimed the call to prayer. The bell tower offers a sweeping panorama of the city. After visiting the cathedral, you can relax in the orange grove in the Patio de los Naranjos courtyard, a reminder of the former mosque. Muslims used to perform ablutions, meaning ritual cleansing, before entering the temple at this location. There is a combined entry ticket to the cathedral and tower, which is worth buying online to avoid standing in queues. A separate ticket also includes guided access to the cathedral's roof. St. Mary's Cathedral plays an important role in the celebration of Semana Santa, the Holy Week that begins on Palm Sunday. Processions, known as cofradías, which are led by individual Christian brotherhoods, take place then. Dozens of such processions take place during Semana Santa in Seville, which is the most important part of the Easter celebration. The Cathedral of the Blessed Virgin Mary is on the route of each of the processions, which set off from the headquarters of the various cofradías scattered throughout the city. The main archive of India houses the largest collection of documents related to overseas expeditions and colonial history in all of Spain. It was established at the end of the 18th century in the building of the Commercial Exchange. The archive contains about 9 kilometers of bookcases on which are stacked around 43,000 volumes that total 80 million pages. Among others, there are manuscripts of Christopher Columbus and Magellan, as well as memoirs of the conquerors of Mexico and Peru. Unfortunately, you cannot see the documents and maps that are kept in the archive. They are only available to researchers by prior arrangement. However, entry is free of charge. So if you have some time left after visiting the most popular attractions, it is worth taking time to visit this place. If you like our videos, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe, as it will help us grow this channel. The Alcázar is a palace complex that has been the residence of successive rulers for centuries. Originally, the seat of Arab rulers, in the 14th century, King Peter the Cruel had it rebuilt to rival the Alhambra in Granada. They opted for the Mudejar style, which combines elements of Christian and Islamic architecture. The Mudejar style is characterized by Moorish ornamentation, but also includes Gothic and Renaissance elements. It was created during the Reconquista, when Christian and Muslim cultures began to intermingle. In fact, the name of this style is derived from the Arabic word mudagin, which means to remain. We will enter the palace courtyard through the Gate of Lions. After crossing it, we will be transported to a world from the tale of 1001 Nights. The Alcázar, in its original form, stood here more than 1,000 years ago and served as the residence of the caliphs and later as the seat of Spanish kings. The palace complex consists of several parts that were built at different times, and the most beautiful part of the Alcázar was built during the reign of King Peter the Cruel. Today in the Alcázar, we can admire intricately decorated ornaments, golden ceilings, numerous arabesques, stone arches, and courtyards with fountains. The Palacio Real is worth seeing, with its distinctive Ambassador's Hall, which is topped with a cedarwood dome. The Courtyard of Virgins and the Gothic Palace are also very impressive. The palace complex is truly impressive, with beautiful gardens surrounding it. They occupy more than 100,000 square meters of space, and you can see about 200 species of plants. The entire Alcázar is surrounded by a massive fortified wall. To avoid standing in a queue, scenes for the TV series Game of Thrones were filmed here. The headquarters of the University of Seville is housed in one of the most beautiful buildings in the entire city. It was once home to a royal cigar and cigarette factory. The complex was built in the mid-18th century as Europe's first tobacco factory, which in the 19th century produced more than half of the cigars smoked throughout Europe. Torre del Oro, known as the Golden Tower, was built in the 13th century and served a defensive function. The tower was part of the city's surrounding walls, which were more than 7 kilometers long, with 13 main entrance gates and 166 towers, of which the Torre del Oro was the largest. There are various theories as to the origin of its name. One suggests that it was covered with gold-colored tiles. Another is related to the color of the sheet of water in which the facade is reflected, and others say that it may have referred to the tower's function, as it once housed a gold warehouse. Today it houses a small maritime museum where old maps, compasses, and documents can be found. The Golden Tower stands by the river, and next to it stretches a promenade along which it is worth taking a stroll and visiting one of its numerous pubs. Maria Luisa Park is Seville's most popular green space. It was created in the first half of the 20th century for the Iberian-American Exposition. It was named after the Duchess who donated the area to the city. In the park, you can see dozens of fountains, ponds, pavilions, benches, ceramic tiles, and lots of different kinds of plants. Here you can relax in the shade of trees or stroll along charming alleys. The biggest attraction in Maria Luisa Park is the impressive Spanish Square. We are in Spanish Square, which is one of the most beautiful places in Seville. It was built in the early 20th century as a part of the Iberian-American Exposition, although it would seem that the square is much older. The most distinctive feature is the long Spanish pavilion with its beautiful azulejo tiles. "48 Spanish provinces are depicted on the pavilion's facade, under which you can see a map of the region and bordering areas. A small canal flows through the square where you can take a boat. Over it are 4 bridges decorated with colorful panels that symbolize the 4 former kingdoms of Spain. Attention is also drawn to 2 towers that allude to the cathedral's bell tower. Spanish Square is beautiful and bustles with activity at any time of the day. It was designed by Aníbal González, the statue of which stands in the middle of the square. It was also appreciated by the creators of Star Wars, as the square played the planet Naboo. Moreover, you can see free flamenco shows under the canopy. Flamenco is not just music. It is a cultural phenomenon that includes song, guitar music, and dance at the same time. The singing is not at all about lyrics, but mostly about expression, the expression of pain and tears. The rhythm is tapped out with castanets, clapping and snapping fingers, while dancers express emotions with their own bodies. In turn, from time to time, a full-throated ole. Flamenco can be seen in Seville in many places, theaters, tight bars, and on the street. It is an interesting experience to see a performance in La Carboneria bar, despite the fact that the place is increasingly popular with tourists. In our opinion, it has not lost its atmosphere. The flamenco show here is free and takes place daily. However, it is worth coming early to grab a nice seat. To attend the show, all you have to do is buy something at the bar. Pontius Pilate never lived in the house of Pilate. That would be impossible given the time of its construction. It owes its name to the first station of the Stations of the Cross, which stood in front of the palace in the 16th. Pilate's house is the largest private palace in the entire city. It was built at the turn of the 15th and 16th centuries as a blend of Italian Renaissance and Spanish Mudéjar. It impresses with its azulejos tiles, open courtyards, sculptures, and beautiful gardens. Iglesia del Salvador, which means Church of the Most Holy Savior, was built on the ruins of a former mosque, like many Andalusian temples. It was constructed in the late 17th and early 18th centuries in the Seville Baroque style. Its interior is full of splendor, and the church's dome is decorated with azulejos tiles, characteristic of Andalusia. A ticket to the Cathedral of the Blessed Virgin Mary entitles you to a free tour of the Church of the Most Holy Savior. Otherwise, entry is charged. Metropol Parasol, also known as Setas de Sevilla, or simply Sevilla mushrooms, was built relatively recently in 2011. It is said to be the largest wooden structure in the world, consisting of 6 interconnected umbrellas. At a height of 22 to 28 meters, there is an observation deck that offers a magnificent view of the city. To enter it, you need to buy a ticket. The terrace can be reached by elevator. In the basement of the structure is the Antiquarium, or Archaeological Museum, which operates independently of the viewpoint, so there is an additional fee to enter. There is also a food market, restaurant, and bar within the structure. The Museum of Fine Arts is housed in the buildings of a former monastery, so its setting is already very impressive. Here you can see a beautiful courtyard and many rooms where works are displayed. The museum's collection ranges from medieval to Baroque to Romantic works. Among others, you can see 17th century works representing the Seville Baroque, among other works by Murillo. Entry to the museum is free for European Union residents. Others must pay a nominal fee. The corrida is a traditional Spanish spectacle that arouses great controversy. Visiting Seville, it is hard not to encounter it, as it is an important part of Spanish culture, and many places in Andalusia have bullfighting arenas where corridas are still held. Plaza de Toros in Seville is one of the most famous and oldest bull arenas in Spain. Its grandstands can hold 12,000 spectators, and inside there is a small museum where you can see items related to the corrida, matador costumes, paintings, and sculptures. During the Feria de Abril festival, Seville's bullfighting arena hosts the most spectacular corridas, featuring the most successful bullfighters. Feria de Abril is held 2 weeks after Semana Santa and is meant to welcome spring. As we already quite well know, the people of Seville know how to celebrate lavishly. The streets of Seville then turn into a huge, colorful party that lasts as long as a week. Taking the Isabella II Bridge, which is also called Puente de Triana, you can cross the Guadalquivir River to the former Gypsy Quarter. In the Middle Ages, Triana was an independent town that was famous for its pottery and azulejos tiles. The Triana District had no permanent connection to the rest of the city for many centuries. Therefore, it has retained its character and its own identity to this day. It is from Triana that many bullfighters and flamenco dancers originated. Here you will find numerous pubs, restaurants, and small handicraft stores. It is also a place full of tapas bars and establishments where you can see an authentic flamenco show. Finally, we have something for fans of Sevilla FC, as the Andalusian capital is home to a stadium named after Ramón Sánchez Pizjuán, where this soccer team plays its matches. You can visit the facility on a tour that allows you to enter the stands, the locker room, the VIP box, and the room where the cups are displayed. Seville is also home to Estadio Benito Villamarín, which is Betis's home stadium. This facility is also open to the public for tours. Hopefully, with this video, you will plan a successful stay in Seville. We also encourage you to subscribe to the Experience Countries channel to stay up to date with our upcoming videos.